Welcome back, everybody, to the Fishers of Men podcast. This is your host, David, and your co-host, Harry Chad.
Hi.
We tried recording a lot of this last night, had about 45 minutes, and somebody called and cut it off about 20 seconds in, so we only ended up with 20 seconds of footage last time we tried to record. It was pretty tragic. We was going to have it posted today, but, it's the Lord's plan, not ours.
And plus, it's the day's Easter, so.
Well, he came back, didn't he?
Yeah, he's alive and well.
So today we're going to be reading out of Matthew 26.
Matthew 26, David. Matthew 26.
I've read it like 6 times today.
I read it like 6 or 7 times.
But, yeah. And we're going to read from Matthew 26.
26.
Yeah. And we're going to finish the book. So it's 3 chapters long. No big deal. You can get your Bible and read along with us if you'd like. I'm reading out of NASB. It's a really good Bible, actually. I really enjoy this.
And I'm reading out of King James, so mine's going to be a little different.
Well, you ready to go?
Do it.
When Jesus had finished all these words, he said to his disciples, "You know that after 2 days the Passover is coming, and the Son of Man is to be handed over for crucifixion." At that time, the chief priests and the elders of the people were gathered together in the courtyard of the high priest named Caiaphas. And they plotted together to arrest Jesus covertly and kill him. But they were saying, "Not during the festival, otherwise a riot might occur among the people." Now when Jesus was in Bethany and at the home of Simon the leper, a woman came to him with an alabaster vial of very expensive perfume. And she poured it on his head, and as he was reclining at the table, but the disciples were indignant when they saw this, and said, "Why this waste? For this perfume could have been sold for a high price and the money given to the poor." But Jesus, aware of this, said to them, "Why are you bothering this woman? For she has done a good deed for me. For you always have the poor with you, but you don't always have me. For when she poured this perfume on my body, she did it to prepare me for my burial. Truly I say to you, wherever this gospel is preached in the whole world, what this woman has done will also be told in memory of her." Kind of crazy if you think about it.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I wear cologne all the time. Why don't the whole world know that?
I'm wearing cologne right now.
Well, the whole world's about to know that.
All right.
Verse 14. Then one of the 12, named Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What are you willing to give me to betray to you? Or what are you willing to give me to betray him to you?" And they set out for him 30 pieces of silver. Now, I thought originally 30 pieces of silver was worth about $500. But back then, in today's currency, it was more about $1,000 to $4,000. I looked that up on Google earlier. It was like $1,000 to $4,000 back then, with some people even claiming it was $10,000 or $30,000. Still, I wouldn't betray no guy for $30,000. I mean,
Not even the worst enemy.
no, for $30,000.
What verse?
Verse 15. Or wait, no, never mind. Verse 16.
Okay.
And from then on, he looked for a good opportunity to betray Jesus. Now on the first day of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus and asked, "Where do you want us to prepare for you to eat during the Passover?" And he said, "Go into the city unto a certain man and say to him, My teacher says that the time is near. I am keeping the Passover at your house with my disciples." Or no, the teacher says the time is near. "I am keeping the Passover at your house with my disciples." The disciples did just as Jesus had directed them, and he prepared the Passover. Now when the evening came, Jesus was reclining at the table with the 12, and as they were eating, he said, "Truly I say to you that one of you will betray me." Being deeply grieved, they began saying to him, each one, "Surely it is not I, Lord." And he answered, "He who dipped his hand in with me into the bowl is the one who is going to betray me. The Son of Man is going away just as it is written about him. But woe to that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It would have been good for him if that man had not been born." And Judas, who was betraying him, said, "Surely it is not I, Rabbi." And Jesus said to him, "You have said it yourself." Now while they were eating, Jesus took some bread, and after blessing it, he took and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat. This is my body." Oh, we did this in church. I don't like that.
No.
I don't like communion.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like communion. Verse 27. When he had taken a cup and given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you, for this is my blood of the covenant, which is being poured out for many for forgiveness of sins. But I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit for the
Take your time, dude.
sorry. But I say to you, I will not drink of this fruit of the vine from now on until that day when I drink of it with you new in my Father's kingdom." And after singing a hymn, they went out to the Mount of Olives. Then Jesus said to them, "You will all fall away because of me this night, for it is written, I will strike the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock will be scattered. But after I have been raised, I will go ahead of you to Galilee." But Peter replied to him, "Even if they all fall away because of you, I will never fall away." Jesus said to him, "Truly I say to you, this very night, before a rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times. Peter said to him, "Even if I have to die with you, I won't deny you." And all the disciples said the same thing.
What verse you want?
Verse 36. Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane, and told his disciples, "Sit here while I go over there and pray." And he took Peter, the 2 sons of Zebedee, with him, and he began to be grieved and distressed. Then he said to them, "My soul is deeply grieved to the point of death. Remain here and keep watch with me." And he went a little beyond them and fell on his face and prayed, saying, "My Father, if it is possible, let this cup pass from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." And he came to the disciples and found them sleeping. And he said to Peter, "So you men could not keep watch with me for 1 hour? Keep watching and praying so that you don't come into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak." Bars. He went away a second time and prayed, saying, "My Father, if this cup cannot pass away unless I drink from it, your will be done." Again, he came and found them sleeping, for their eyes were heavy, and he had left them again, and went away and prayed a third time, saying the same thing once more. Then he came to the disciples and said to them, "Are you still sleeping and resting? Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is being betrayed into the hands of the sinners. Get up, let's go. Behold, the one who is betraying me is near." And while he was still speaking, behold, Judas, one of the 12, came accompanied by a large crowd with swords and clubs, who came from chief priests and elders of people. Now he who was betraying him gave them a sign, previously saying, "Whomever I kiss, he is the one. Arrest him." And immediately Judas went up to Jesus and said, "Greetings, Rabbi," and kissed him. But even Jesus said to him, "Friend, do what you have come for." Then they came and laid hands on Jesus and arrested him. And behold, one of those who drew with Jesus reached and drew his. One of those who drew with Jesus.
What verse you want again?
Verse 51. And behold, one of those who were with Jesus reached and drew his sword and struck the slave of the high priest and cut off his ear. Then Jesus said to him, "Put your sword back into its place. For all those who take up the sword will perish by the sword. Or do you think that I cannot appeal to my Father, and he will at once put at my disposal more than 12 legions of angels?" We did the math, that's 72,000, because a single legion is 4,200. Yeah.
Yeah.
4,200 times 12 is 72,000. He's saying he can get more than 72,000 angels, which is, I don't know. I don't know how much more he could get, but he's God, so there ain't no telling.
He's the man.
How then would the scriptures, from verse 54.
Okay.
How then would the scriptures be fulfilled, which say that it must happen this way? At that time, Jesus said to the crowds, "Have you come out with swords and clubs to arrest me, as you would against a man enticing revolt? Every day I used to sit and teach within the temple grounds, teaching, and yet you did not arrest me. But all this had taken place so that the scriptures of the prophets will be fulfilled." Then all the disciples left him and fled. Those who had arrested Jesus led him away to Caiaphas, the high priest. And when the scribes and the elders were gathered together, the high priest where the scribes and the elders were gathered together. But Peter was following him at a distance as far as the courtyard of the high priest. And he came inside and sat down with the officers to see the outcome. Now, what that means, where Peter was following him as far as the courtyard of the high priest, means that he was all the way on the other side of the courtyard. Like, say, if Jesus was at the exit, Peter would be at the entrance.
So he was watching him being,
At the very entrance, yeah.
yeah. And he couldn't do nothing.
Verse 59. Now the chief priests and the entire council kept trying to obtain false testimony against Jesus so that they might put him to death. They did not find any, even though many false witnesses came forward. But later on, two came forward and said, "This man stated, 'I am able to destroy the temple of God and to rebuild it again in 3 days.'" The high priest stood up and said to him, "Do you offer no answer for what these men are testifying against you?" But Jesus kept silent. And the high priest said to him, "I place you under oath by the living God to tell us whether you are the Christ, the Son of God." Jesus said to him, "You have said it yourself. I tell you, from now on you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of power and coming down on the clouds of heaven." Then the high priest tore his robes and said, "He has blasphemed. What further need do we have of witness? See, what you have heard the blasphemy. See, you have now heard the blasphemy. What do you think?" They answered, "He deserves death." Then they spit in his face and beat him with their fists, and others slapped him and said, "Prophesy to us, you Christ. Who do you think is the one who hit you?" Now Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard, and a slave woman came to him and said, "You too are with Jesus the Galilean. But he denied it before them all, saying, "I don't know what you're talking about." When he had gone out to the gateway, another slave woman saw them and said to those who were there, "This man was with Jesus of Nazareth." And again he denied it with an oath, "I don't know the man." A little later, the bystanders came up and said to Peter, "You really are one of them as well, since even the way you talk gives you away." Then he began to curse and swear, "I don't know the man." And immediately a rooster crowed. And Peter remembered the statement that Jesus had made, "Before a rooster crows, you will deny me 3 times." And he went out and wept bitterly.
So I wonder what happened if he did say, "Yeah, I was with him." I wonder like what happened if he did
He would
say
be
that.
put to death alongside Jesus.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if he was doing the same thing that Jesus was doing, well, not the same thing, but like, think of it this way. That's like if I robbed a bank and you were the getaway driver.
Yeah.
We'd both get jail time, right? Mm-hmm. Well, say I'm Jesus, the one that's going to get crucified. You're my disciple. You're
Yeah.
the one that I'm teaching everything to. You're going to get some time too, aren't you? A punishment, let it be flogged, or you'd be crucified right next to me. Mm-hmm. You never know, right?
Yeah.
But you would get a punishment for that.
Yeah.
So that's why Peter was so scared, because he didn't want to die.
So did correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not taking away from this, but did the other disciples deny him too?
Not that I know of. It was only Peter. Some might have said yes, some might have said no, but the only scripture I know that says that is just the story about Peter and the rooster crowing.
Okay.
Now, from chapter 27. You got it?
Got it.
Now when the morning came, all the chief priests and the elders of the people conferred together against Jesus to put him to death. And they bound him and led him away, and handed him over to Pilate the governor. Then when Judas, who had betrayed him, I'm sorry.
Take your time, dude.
Verse 3. Then when Judas, who had betrayed him, saw that he had been condemned, he felt remorse and returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, "I have sinned by betraying innocent blood." But they said, "What is that to us? You shall see to it yourself." And he threw the 30 pieces of silver into the temple sanctuary and left. And then he went away and hanged himself. The chief priests took the pieces of silver and said, "It is not lawful to put them in the temple treasury, since it is money paid for blood." And they conferred together with the money bought from the potter's field as a burial. And they conferred together, and with the money bought the potter's field as a burial place for strangers. For this reason, that field has been called the field of blood to this day. Then that which was spoken through Jeremiah the prophet was fulfilled. And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of the one whose price had been set by the sons of Israel, and they gave them for the potter's field, just as the Lord directed me. Verse 11. Now Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor questioned him, saying, "So are you king of the Jews?" So you are the king of the Jews. And Jesus said to him, It is as you say. And while he was being accused by the chief priests and elders, he did not offer to him any answer. Then Pilate said to him, Do you not hear how many things they are testifying against you? And still he didn't answer him in regard to even a single charge. So the governor was greatly amazed. Now at the Passover feast, the governor was accustomed to release for the people any one prisoner whom they wanted. And at that time they were holding a notorious prisoner called Barabbas. So when the people gathered together, Pilate said to him, Whom do you want me to release to you, Barabbas or Jesus, who was called the Christ? For he knew that it was because of envy that they had handed him over. And while he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent him a message saying, See that you have nothing to do with that righteous man, for last night I suffered in a dream because of him. That means God was still looking after Jesus.
Yeah.
Before he was going to get crucified. After all the 400 different, what's the name? Not predictions.
Did they say
prophecies. That's the word.
Did they say something about something different about that woman? And was it Mark or John?
I don't think John even mentioned her.
So it was Mark.
No, they never said nothing. Well, actually, no. Yeah, they did say something different. Because in Matthew, it says that she sent Pilate a letter. But in Mark, it says that she was there. And told him in person.
Well, that's confusing.
Verse 20. I might be wrong about that. We might have to go back through that later on.
Yeah, because me and him was been reading all the Gospels, for 2 weeks?
Yeah,
weeks.
We've been reading all the Gospels through the Last Supper and then through the crucifixion and the resurrection.
Yeah.
Every night we've been taking out an hour, 2 hours, sitting down and studying about it. Talking about it, basically having our own little podcast episode to ourselves.
Yeah.
But verse 20. But the chief priest and the elders persuaded the crowd to ask for Barabbas and put Jesus to death. And the governor said to them, Which of the two do you want me to release to you? And they said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, Then what shall I do with Jesus, who is called Christ? And they all said, Crucify him. But he said, Why? What evil has he done? Yet they kept shouting all the more, saying, Crucify him. Now when Pilate saw that he was accomplishing nothing, but rather that a riot was starting, he took water and washed his hands in front of the crowd, saying, I am innocent of this man's blood. You yourselves shall see. And all the people replied, His blood shall be on us and on our children as well. Then he released Barabbas for them, but after having Jesus flogged, he handed him over to be crucified. Now mind you, at this part in the story, Jesus was just flogged. But they don't say how many times he was flogged. He was flogged 39 times. Because back then, if you were flogged 40 times, you could possibly die for that.
Yeah.
He's already on the very brink of death before any of the rest of this even happened.
So he really should have been dead like the past 4 strikes.
Yeah, because if they flogged him on his back, through the whipping pattern, they usually whip down, then whip up.
Yeah.
With a cat of 9 tails. It's like a whip with 2-foot-long leather straps, 9 of them. And at the very end of the leather straps, they have metal hooks on them. And when they whip, they cut him 9 different times and whip him at the same time. And they're whipping up this way, then down that way, then up this way, then down that way, like an X formation. So his back looks like mincemeat right now. If they whipped him on his back. If it was his front, then his guts is probably hanging out. Verse 27. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole Roman cohort to him. And they stripped him and put a red cloak on him. And after twisting together a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and they put a reed in his right hand. And they knelt down before him and mocked him, saying, All hail the King of the Jews. And they spit on him, and they took the reed and beat him on the head. Pause right there. He had a crown of thorns on his head. And they took a stick, and they beat the crown of thorns deeper into his head with that, while his back is already mincemeat. He should have been dead, bro.
And they were beating him while the So they were beating him in the head with the.
with a stick, with the crown of thorns already in his head. They're beating the crown of thorns deeper into his head.
My God.
Now, mind you, I don't know who said this. I can't remember, but I heard somewhere that the thorns back then were like this long, about this long right here, and
So they were jabbing those thorns into his head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
That's why they had to beat it on his head with a stick. Now, we're continuing from verse 31. And after they had mocked him, they took the cloak off of him and put his own garments back on him and led him away to crucify him. And as they were coming out, they found a man of Cyrene named Simon, whom they compelled to carry his cross. Pause right there. Simon of Cyrene was also a black man, or a very dark-skinned man. And when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull, they gave him wine mixed with bile to drink. And after tasting it, he was unwilling to drink it. Oh, sorry, that was from verse 33 down. We're going to read from verse 35 now. Okay. And when they had crucified him, they divided his garments among themselves and began casting lots. Now, began casting lots, that means they were gambling for him. They were shooting dice for his clothes. That red robe that they put on him after they beat the crown of thorns on him, they was gambling for that.
So didn't mean to cut you off there, but
No, it's fine. It's all about talking.
yeah. So around this time right here, is he already on the cross right now?
Let's see.
So like, because if they were gambling for his clothes like at that point, so he should have been on the cross right now, right?
Yeah, he's on the cross right now.
Okay.
So far in this story, he had his back turned into mincemeat. Then they walked him over to, what's the name of that place?
Golgotha.
The Praetorium.
Ah.
They walked him over into the Praetorium, and they beat him in the head with a stick, beating the crown of thorns into his head. And then after that, they took... After that, he walked
a good mile.
A good mile, yeah. I heard somewhere it was around 2 miles. Y'all guys are going to have to look that up for yourself. That's something we forgot to look up, how far the Praetorium was from Golgotha.
Yeah, he walked a good mile from there.
Yeah, he should have walked maybe 2 miles from what I've heard, with a 300-pound wooden cross on his back.
Yeah.
But thankfully, Simon of Cyrene was there to help him.
Plus, his whole back was showing his spine, his ribs, and everything. And he was carrying a big, huge wooden cross on the back of him. That's like trying to lift that refrigerator back there.
Now, in Mark, it says while he was walking with the cross, in Mark, it says that people was throwing stones at him, punching him, spitting on him, beating him, mocking him. But there was other people that was crying for him.
Yeah.
While he's walking this thing with the crown of thorns on his head this whole time. And people's punching him, throwing rocks at him, spitting on him, and mocking him.
Yeah.
Now, when he finally got to Golgotha...
What verse you on?
Verse 35.
Okay.
He finally got to Golgotha, which means place of skull. They gave him... Oh, no, we're on verse 33.
That's what I thought.
And when they came to a place called Golgotha, which means place of a skull, they gave him wine mixed with bile to drink. And after tasting it, he was unwilling to drink it. Verse 35. When they had crucified him, they divided his garments among themselves and began casting lots. Time out. So, begin casting lots means that they were gambling for his clothes, which we probably just went over, but they was throwing dice for his clothes or playing cards. I don't know if cards existed in 33 AD or 33 AC.
I don't know.
But they was basically gambling for his clothes. That's all that matters. Verse 36. And sitting down, they began to keep watch over him there. And above his head they put up the charge against him, which read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." And at that time, 2 rebels were being crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left. And those passing by were speaking abusively to him, shaking their heads and saying, "You who are going to destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." And in the same way, the chief priests also, along with the scribes and elders, were mocking him, saying, "He saved others. He can't not save himself. He's the King of Israel. Let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe in him. He has trusted in God. Let him now. He has trusted in God. Let God rescue him now. If he takes pleasure in him, for he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" And the rebels who had been crucified with him were also insulting him in the same way. The rebels who were being crucified with him were also insulting him in the same way. I just had to say that again because a lot of people don't catch on to that. The people that's being crucified alongside Jesus were insulting him in the same exact way.
Including the man that said, "Fog," also said, "Remember me, and when you enter in your kingdom."
I'm not totally sure on that one.
Really?
I'm not sure if he said that.
Well, never mind.
It might have just been the one on the other side.
Well, he said both men on the cross. Like both men.
It did say the rebels, plural. Maybe there was more than one or more than three there.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We probably missed that one.
Maybe.
What verse you want again?
Where was we at? Oh, verse 45.
Okay.
Now from the 6th hour, darkness fell upon the land until the 9th hour. And about the ninth hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani." That is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And some of those who were standing there, when they heard it, they said, "This man's calling for Elijah." And immediately one of them ran, taking a sponge, and filled it with sour wine, and put it on a reed, and gave him a drink. But the rest of them said, "Let us see if Elijah comes to save him." And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice, and then he gave up his spirit, which means he died. And behold, the veil in the temple was torn from top to bottom, and the earth shook, and the rocks were split. Also the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had died, it says fallen asleep, but it means died. Many of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And coming out of the tombs after the resurrection, they entered the holy city and appeared to many. Now as for the centurion and those who were keeping guard over Jesus, when they saw the earthquake and the other things that were happening, they became extremely frightened and said, "Truly this was the Son of God." And many women were there watching from a distance, who had followed him from Galilee while caring for him. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Joseph, the mother of the sons of Zebedee.
Can I also say something real quick? I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No, you're not cutting me off.
I seen a video about like how people was crucified, like how the same way he was crucified. They say that when they try to nail their legs, some say his feet was like this.
Yeah, no, his feet were on top of each other, and a single nail, 9 inches long,
But
was pierced through both the feet.
But they found people's like dead people in the tombs. The nails was right here. So maybe Jesus was nailed like this. Like this.
No.
That's how they seen
And
it.
people say that his feet was like this, but maybe they was just
I don't know.
like
But
maybe
that's
he
how they
was
found
sitting-
him in the old tombs.
maybe they was sitting like this right here, with their feet like that on top of each other, because it's a lot more comfortable than doing this.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just like this.
I don't know. But they also said that he got nailed right here too.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's right here, but it's really more in the wrist area.
Because that's the more like stronger part to hold across.
Because if you can feel your hand, like grab it like this and twist it around, you'll feel your bone.
Yeah.
Your bone is like this. It's like 2 parts. When they take that nail and drive it through, they drive it through that bone. So that way,
So the bone was hanging on it.
yeah, it'll stay secure on your bones. Because if it was just through your hand, it's hanging off your little finger bones.
Yeah.
You pull yourself up or you move or something, you're going to rip right through that. So it's hanging on your bones in your arms.
Yeah.
Right here in your wrist where all the little veins and stuff is.
And like I said earlier, his spine was showing, his rib cage was showing.
His
And he had
back
a-
was mincemeat, man.
Yeah. And he was rubbing his what's that word?
His open spine.
Open spine on that rugged cross, that big, huge wooden cross. Mm-hmm. What's
Splinters and
Yeah.
all the wood getting in there.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, what a lot of people don't know is that during the crucifixion, it was a custom to break the people's legs
yeah,
so they couldn't push themselves up. Because if you don't know, if you're hanging like this, it becomes really hard to breathe. So you got to pull yourself up by your wrists. Because your legs are broken, you pull yourself up just to get a breath of air. And while he's breathing, when he's pulling himself up, he's scratching his back on the cross.
yeah,
And then just to take a breath, which pushes him more onto the cross.
he was like
then you
digging,
go-
he's basically digging himself deeper inside the cross.
Yeah, and then he goes right back down again. Onto his already broken legs.
Yeah, and plus, I don't mean to keep talking, but
No, you're good. Keep talking, man.
there's I forgot this thing. Crap. Lord help me. Like around those like same times, the when people was getting crucified, they put them like on like little roads and have people like walking by them and see them being crucified. So maybe there's like people walking by them and seeing Jesus being crucified.
I'm pretty sure it was like a big multitude of people because a lot of people thought he was the Christ, which he was.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about back then. When he got crucified for blasphemy, a lot of people still thought he was the Christ. Mm-hmm. But from verse 55, and many women who were there watching from a distance, who had followed Jesus from Galilee while caring for him, among them were Mary Magdalene, which was, I'm pretty sure that was the woman that committed adultery. And Jesus said, hey, whoever has not committed any sin can throw the first stone at this woman. Because the law of Moses said to stone an adulterer.
Yeah.
He said, hey, if you're sinless, go ahead. You can throw the stone. But nobody there was sinless. Everyone there had sinned. Mm-hmm. And then there was Mary, the mother of James. Now, what we found out last night in youth was James was Jesus' brother. So Mary was actually the mother of God, alongside Mary Magdalene. Mary, the mother of James and Joseph. Jesus had a brother named Joseph as well. I forgot about that. And then there was the mother of the sons of Zebedee.
What verse you on?
Now we're on verse 57.
Okay.
Now when it was evening, a rich man from Arimathea came named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate ordered for it to be given to him. And Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen cloth. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that in the Gospel of Mark, it says that Pilate had to send the centurion out to Jesus' cross to see if Jesus was still alive.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, this was about a day after the crucifixion. But people can stay alive on the cross for 1 to 3 days.
Really?
3 days being the longest recorded ever time a man stayed alive on the cross. 3 days and 3 nights being nailed to a cross with nothing to eat after being beaten and whipped terribly. Died. But I don't think that was any worse than Jesus' death, because he was already considered a dead man walking after he got flogged, because he was flogged 39 times.
Yeah.
He needed to be flogged 40 times to die, because that's fatal. He was already supposed to be dead after they flogged him, then beat him on the head with the stick with the crown of thorns.
Yeah, like what I said earlier, he should have been dead those last 4 strikes.
Yeah, no, he should have been dead before he should have been dead before he made it to the cross.
Yeah.
Now, verse 60. And let's go from verse 59 just for the context.
Okay.
And Joseph took the body and wrapped it in a clean linen cloth. And he laid it in his own tomb, which he had cut out in the rock. And he rolled a large stone against the entrance of the tomb and went away. And Mary Magdalene was there, and the other Mary sitting opposite of the tomb. So Mary Magdalene and the mother of Jesus was sitting opposite of the tomb, which means they were sitting on the opposite side.
So wait. So question. Where were they keeping Jesus before the tomb? Like,
On the
I thought
cross.
I thought they were like after he died. I thought they'd take him like straight to him, like to the tomb.
He was on the cross, dude, until someone came to claim his body.
What? So they left him on the cross while dead.
That reminded me of Cliff. What?
You know? Yep.
It doesn't say there ain't, does it?
What?
Yeah.
I do not know.
No.
I don't like
Now, where was we at? Oh, yeah.
62.
Verse 62.
Okay.
Now, on the next day, that is the day which after the preparation the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered together with Pilate. And they said, Sir, we remember that when the deceiver was alive, he said, after 3 days I am rising. The deceiver, talking about Jesus, they called him the deceiver. 64. Therefore, give orders for the tomb to be made secure until the 3rd day. Otherwise, his disciples may come and steal him and say to the people, he has risen from the dead. And the last deception will be worse than the first. Pilate said to them, you have a guard. Go, make it as secure as you know how to. And they went and made the tomb with the guards sealing the stone. And they went and made the tomb secure with the guards sealing the stone. Chapter 28, the final chapter in the book of Matthew. You want to know what the title of this is? Jesus is risen. Chapter 28, verse 1. Now after the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to look at the tomb. And behold, a severe earthquake had occurred, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled away the stone, and sat upon it, and his appearance was like lightning, and his clothing as white as snow. And the guard shook from fear of him and became like dead men. I don't know what that means.
What did it say again?
And the guard shook from fear because of the man, and then they became like dead men. Maybe they was playing dead, or they ran away and got scared or something.
Well, they probably were like frozen in shock. So they were probably like,
Maybe.
yeah.
Verse 5. And the angel said to the woman, don't be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who had been crucified. He is not here, for he has risen. Just as he said, come see the place where he was lying, and go quickly and tell his disciples that he has risen from the dead. And behold, he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. Behold, I have told you. And they left the tomb quickly with fear and with great joy, and ran to report to his disciples. And behold, Jesus met them and said, rejoice! And they came up and took hold of his feet and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to him, don't be afraid. Go, bring my word to my brothers to leave for Galilee, and there they will see me. Now while they were on their way, some of the men from the guard came to the city and reported all to the chief priests what had happened. And when they had assembled with the elders and consulted together, they gave them a large sum of money to the soldiers and said, you are to say, his disciples came at night and stole him while we were asleep. They were bribing the soldiers to lie about Jesus' resurrection.
Wait, say that again?
They were bribing the Pharisees. Hang on. Let's just read it again from verse 12.
Okay, verse 12. Hold on. Okay, yeah.
Ready?
Go.
And when that had happened, and when they had assembled with the elders and consulted together, the elders being the high people, they gave this large sum of money to the soldiers, the ones that was just protecting the tomb, and said, you are to say his disciples came at night and stole him while we were asleep. If that isn't blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, I don't know what could be.
So they thought the disciples stole him.
Nuh-uh. They just bribed the people to say, hey, tell people that he didn't rise and walk away.
Oh, God.
It's like a whole nother Judas situation. Wow. from verse 15. Y'all ready to read the next part? Because I just read it. And they took the money and did as they'd been instructed. And this story was widely spread among the Jews and still is to this day. Verse 16. But the 11 disciples proceeded to Galilee, to the mountain that which Jesus had designated to them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some were doubtful. And Jesus came up and spoke to them, saying, All authority in heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to follow all that I commanded you. And behold, I am with you always to the end of the age.
Amen.
Amen. That is the end of Matthew chapter 28.
And that's all I had to say about that.
Yep. It was honestly a really good chapter.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we managed to get all of it together and not just a tiny, tiny little video last week about the,
Palm Sunday.
not about Palm Sunday. That was 2 weeks ago. It was a tiny video last week that we was going to do just strictly about the, what's the word? About the Last Supper. That's it. I couldn't get it out of me for the love of God.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is it on as you tell us when we're
No, it's still going.
okay? Because I can't see it. It's like black.
Okay, you don't scare the living crap out of me, Philip.
So we got 42 minutes in here.
Keep going.
All right, ready, set, and yeah, we was just gonna have a tiny little video, but I'm thankful that we missed out last week and we was able to cram it all together in this
Yeah.
one to have a decently long one. Because I just checked the running time. We're at 43 minutes right now.
Yeah.
Also, you might be wondering the change of scenery. Our podcast room is kind of stuffed up right now.
Mom's fault. It's his mom's fault.
Don't bring my mother into this, Harry.
Love you, Mary.
Yeah, it sounds like it. I'm just playing.
What?
What? But yeah. Also, thank God we got new equipment.
Yeah.
I'm so excited with these mics because it sounds so much better than the last ones.
Mm-hmm.
I know y'all probably noticed this too. We got a new stand too, but y'all don't notice that. Because last recording session, in the very middle of the DevoteCast interview, I kind of stepped on the leg and ruined it.
Yeah.
Also, speaking of the DevoteCast, let me see that.
Thank
you very much. This is the DevoteCast Bible, well, not Bible, but bookmark. It is very good. It's metal. Matthew 28, 18, 20. That is what we just read. Matthew 28, 18 through 20, which is where Jesus said that all the power between heaven and earth had been given to me.
Tell them to the camera.
Well, I'm sorry. They can't see me right now.
Yeah.
You want to go back through and read that part to them? Matthew 18, 20?
You do it.
Oh, not Matthew 18, 20. Matthew 28, 18 through 20. Now, where is it? Here it is. Matthew 18. And Jesus came up and spoke to them, saying, All authority on heaven and on earth has been given to me. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, teaching them to follow all that I commanded you. And behold, I am with you always until the end of the age. Thank God that he gave us the mission to go and make disciples of all the nations.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for those disciples, we wouldn't be here today. And if it's not for us today, then the disciples of tomorrow wouldn't be there either. Mm-hmm. Because if you think about it, we're role models for the new generation coming up.
Yeah.
In a way, we're kind of like Moses.
Question. I have a question.
Answer.
Did Judas go to heaven or hell?
Well, let's take a look at what Judas did after he claimed that he sinned. So based on the evidence of Judas going to hell, What's it called? After he betrayed Jesus, he went back to the Pharisees, which gave him the 30 pieces of silver, and said, I have sinned by betraying the blood of an innocent man. I want you to take this money back. They said, that's not our problem. Go deal with it yourself. And so Judas took that money and he throwed it into the temple and he went and hung himself because he was feeling so guilty.
Yeah.
Now, what does that say to you?
I don't know.
Well, that says that he didn't repent.
So,
And then he ended his own life prematurely, which is also a sin.
so Judas is in hell right now.
Yes.
Dang.
He wasn't the first one in hell, but we can confidently say that Judas has been in hell for 2026 minus 33.
2026 years.
No, 2026 minus 33. 1,993 years. He's been in hell for 1,193 years.
Very interesting.
Any further questions?
Man. How's your day?
My day is going swell, Harry. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, I don't have no other questions. I can't really think much.
Yeah. Well, I guess that about wraps it up for episode 6 on the Fishers and Men podcast. Thank you for tuning in, and as always,
Stay hooked up.